Okay, I'm answering the question now, how to make vegetable stock. And I'm going to ask myself a couple of questions for you and answer them too, like why would we make it and what would we use it for? The reason I'm answering that question with this particular stock, because you'll find in general in this class these different stock lessons. I don't tell you very much about what we're going to do with it, because that's another ball game here. It's too big of a can to open up for most of the stuff that we have, because we're using it everywhere. But the case of the vegetable stock, I say the word stock, but I really should use the word something like vegetable fumet, which is, or essence of vegetable, or something like this, or the aroma of vegetable. Keeping in mind, what is a stock? A stock is flavored water, okay? So we're going to make a vegetable stock, but this is mainly an accommodation for vegetarian use. It doesn't have the depth and the flavor of the meat stocks, the white ones or the brown ones, or any ones for that matter. And it's kind of exclusive for vegetarian use, okay? On the other hand, there's a specific recipe that I have for a cream of vegetable soup, which we'll do in the soup class, which is the next class after the stock and sauce class, where this is utilized for a cream of vegetable soup. And it's both vegetarian, or it doesn't have to be. You can mix the vegetable stock into white stock also when you make something like that, but that would be basically the kind of uses for it. So vegetable stock means a whole bunch of vegetables in a pot, simmered for a long time in water until the water takes on the flavor of the veg. And you throw the veg away, strain the liquid, and there's your vegetable stock. In the stock we're going to make today, we're going to put some carrots, some turnip, some garlic, onions, mushrooms, potato, parsley, tomato, celery. You can certainly add cabbage and zucchini and peppers or whatever you feel like putting in there to the most part. Unless there's some flavor of a particular veg that you think will dominate or take over this vegetable pot, you can probably put it in there. Unless it's that kind of vegetable. I can't think of what that might be. Like overloading this with turnips, for example, would make the thing taste like turnip stock. So we're going to cut up our carrots. I'm going to just stand here for a second and cut up everything, and maybe I'll talk to you a little bit, and maybe I won't. It depends. If I talk to you, it takes me longer to cut stuff. So again, I want to remind you that this is not a regular stock. This is an aberration, if you will, to accommodate the use for vegetarians. I would think, don't forget, aberration, this is not a negative way in which to look at it. It's certainly an adulteration of the word stock. The use of the word. All right, we got some carrots. We're going to put a whole bunch of different dried herbs in here too. I've got a few dried red chilies. I got bay leaves, thyme, dried oregano, basil, whole black peppercorns. We're going to put those in. Garlic, onion, potato, onion, potato, and let's throw some parsley in there. And now these celery flowers, if you will, are very nice little garnishes for different things. Like if you had a cream of celery soup, for example, and I'll show you in the soup class how to use garnishes on things for the first time in the course, which will be in class 2. These, like in cream of celery soup, for example, you put one of these pretty flowers right inside the soup. Little almonds, a little bit of chopped parsley. It's really nice. Anyway, you can, when you have some celery flowers and you're cleaning your celery for your stock and you want to use them tomorrow, just take these and put them in a little cup of water and put them in the fridge, like a little bunch of flowers, if you will, okay? And they should stay pretty good for at least one day. After one day, I'm not so sure how crisp and nice they'll look, you know? So we'll take the flowers off. So one of the things I don't do in this course is I don't have a lot of things pre-chopped, because you need to continually see somebody who's been practicing doing this for 30 years, how they do it over and over and over and over and over again. Because one of the key things to learning how to cook, don't forget, is learning how to emulate people that already know how to do it. That's certainly how I learned how to cook. And I can't think of anyone who didn't learn that way. Put some mushrooms in here. And we're going to throw this turnip in there, but I'm going to peel the turnip because the peelings of the turnip are a little bit like a carrot. They have some bitter aftertaste to them. You know, people are always talking about, well, some days, or not always talking about, but you see people put newspaper down and peel things on it. That's a really good idea. That's one reason, like this would be a second one, carrots, turnips, whatever, potatoes. Well, you want to keep in your kitchen somewhere at your house a little half sheet pan or something somewhere that's got that baking paper, which we use in the kitchen for multiple reasons. And I don't have any with me today, but I'll point some out to you soon. But it's nice to have that around. I like that because then you don't have to clean up the peelings. Personally, when I cook, I tend to make more of a mess than most people because I want to get it all done fast. And I tend to make more of a mess. I'm not somebody who really cleans as they go that much. I had to learn how to do that because it doesn't come natural for me. Anyway, we got the turnips peeled. And so if you're a little bit messy, I have one of my students, you'll love this. One of my students told me one day when I asked them, how did you like the first class? I was conducting a class in a cooking school. And they said, and the student raised her hand and she said, I feel so much better. I thought that I was dirty in the kitchen. She was really kind of saying that I was kind of sloppy, but I'm not that sloppy. Anyway, here we go. Everybody laughed and got a kick out of it, though. Even me, you know. You got to keep your sense of humor when you're cooking. You start thinking this stuff is serious. I mean, you know, unless you're feeding the planet, that's different, you know. But there's a fun thing, you know. You don't want to get too serious about it. Other than the fact is you want to make sure your food comes out really good. That's as serious as you want to get. But you want to be the only one that knows you're that serious. You don't want to impose that upon the people who eat or anything like that. Make them uncomfortable. All right, we got some turnip in there. I got some diced tomatoes out of a can in there. We got everything in there except the herbs. Now, I'm going to throw just a few chilies because I want a little bitty teeny bite on there maybe. You know, be careful how much of that stuff you use, by the way. Those dried hot chilies. We'll throw some bay leaf in there. We throw a little bit of thyme in there. Throw a little bit of dried basil in there. Let's put a little more in there. And we'll put a little bit of whole oregano in there. Now you're asking yourself, well, how much of each item? One of the things I pointed out to you in the initial introductory presentation, which was in the DVD before this class that you received, had to do with the spirit of cooking, okay? Now, once you understand the effects of the food that you're putting in there, once you understand the effects of the food that you're putting in there.
What did you just put in there, Chef?
Oh, the whole black peppercorns. I'm sorry. I just put the whole black peppercorns in there. Richard, the cameraman, is here to keep me, in case I make a mistake, he catches it and tells me. Anyway, what was I saying?
You were talking about the introductory class, where you talked about how much.
Oh yeah, this whole business. Like if you're asking yourself, well, how much of these herbs is he putting in there? I have in the recipe and the ingredient list, it says 1 teaspoon each. Now, it depends what you want it to taste like. Maybe you want it to taste like a lot of basil. Put more basil in there. So don't get stuck on exact amounts, more of the how-to. You will slowly learn the effects of the things and decisions that you make in the final analysis of eating the foods. And that's called cooking experience.